Hello, my name is Lynette Garza, and I am an interpretation student at the University of California in San Diego Extension with the Professional Certificate for Interpretation and Translation. Today I'm going to talk about what you can do if your pet gets lost. Losing a pet is one of the worst experiences for a loving pet owner. I unfortunately went through this a couple of years ago. I I have a dog. His name is Duncan, and he suffers from allergies. He has severe allergies, and we have to bathe him constantly. So one day I bathed him, and this was at a point where his allergies were really, really bad. So he would just scratch a lot and lick himself to try to get rid of the edge. And he would wear a cone even right after taking a bath. So this particular day, he was in the backyard while he was getting dry, and he was wearing the cone of shame, famous cone of shame. Uh, and I went inside the house, and not 5 minutes later, I went back to check on him, and he wasn't in the backyard. I went to check the gates, and sure enough, one of them was open. And I was so worried because he didn't have his collar on. So he didn't have his collar on, no ID on him. He was microchipped, but we had moved, so the information on the microchip wasn't current. The first thing I did, I called my girlfriend. I told her, you know what, Duncan is missing. He left the backyard, and as soon as I told her that, she came back home, and we started looking for him around the neighborhood, asking neighbors if they had seen a black dog with a black medium-sized dog with a cone around his neck. Then we drove around asking neighbors, and after a while, it was already at night that same day, the very first day that he got lost. And we saw a couple of teenagers, and they told us, "Hey, are you looking for a dog?" We said yes, and they were like, "Yes, you asked us about him earlier during the day, and right now we just saw him wearing the cone, and we tried to get him from you for you guys, but we weren't able to. We were just able to grab the cone, and then he took off running." Now, for them, this was really bad because they tried to help us out, and they tried to get Duncan for us. But for us, that was great. That was like a little bit of hope because we live very close to the freeway, and we were so scared that because of the cone, he would just keep on walking and stray right into the freeway. That was one of our biggest fears, for him to get run over. So these kids, they might as well have saved his life because um, a couple of days later, well, before that, we weren't able to find him that night. We started looking at online to see what we could do. I have a friend that runs a Facebook page for lost dogs and cats in El Paso, and that was our um, our first thing that we did right away. We grabbed a picture of Duncan, we posted on the Facebook group, and right there, one of the people there told us that when you lose a pet, you can, especially a dog, their sense of smell is so good that if you grab a bunch of your dirty clothes and you put them outside, they'll be able to smell it. So what we did is we took his bed outside to the backyard, and we just laid a bunch of our dirty clothes on top of it, and we left the gate open just in case he would come back. He would be able to go back into the backyard. So we did that, and the next day we were looking for him all over around the neighborhood. My mom was helping us, my aunts, my uncles, my girlfriend's mom, and her family, they were all looking for him. And by the third day, we heard a bark in the backyard, and we knew he was back. He was able to find his way back home. Um, One of the things that the Humane Society recommends. These are some of the tips that they have on their website. Is the very first thing, contact animal services. You can go to the shelters yourself in person and see if they pick them up. Sometimes they pick them up during the night or during the day, throughout the day. So that is definitely one of the first things to do. Just go in person. It's such a sad place to go, but there's always hope that your pet might be there. Um, Also, there's animal control. They usually have records of the dogs and cats that they find, the strays, and they have pictures online as well. Um, you can again search your neighborhood, ask your neighbors if they had seen a dog, or the description of your pet. Um, Post, um, advertise. You can make flyers with a picture of your dog, a good description, and a contact number, and you can post those like in your mailboxes or on on veterinary clinics or pet stores or like stores with for pets, like where they sell the food and stuff like that. Um, Also, online is the biggest resource. There's web pages in Facebook. There's with the Humane Society web page, Animal Control Services, even Craigslist. Sometimes people find dogs or cats there and they post them on Craigslist mentioning that they are lost. One of the most important things to keep in mind, though, there are people that like to take advantage of the situation and they just want to turn a quick buck and they tell you, oh, you know what, I found your pet, but they just want your money because a lot of um, most of the time people offer rewards or like just a little bit of money to try to get their pet back, and there are some people that take advantage of that and they just want to get that money, the reward money. um, and the absolute most important thing, don't give up. Don't give up hope. Just keep on looking, keep the hopes up. There have been cases where it's been over a year and the family is able to find their dogs or their cats. So don't lose hope. Follow these suggestions, and thank you for listening.